Mr. Rendon, would you like to present your bill? Mr. Rendon, you have 3 bills on suspense and 1 due pass recommendation on AB 884. What's your pleasure?
I'd like to present on AB 825 and 884 and then waive. I believe I have a 3rd bill, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, you have AB 836 on suspense, AB 895 on suspense, which you've said you were going to waive on. Then you have AB 825 on suspense, but you're presenting, and then you have AB 884 due pass.
Yes, sir.
Okay, please continue.
Start with AB 825. AB 825 will increase the transparency of the California Public Utilities Commission, addressing transparency of commission activities, the right to challenge which documents are deemed confidential, and independent oversight. This bill has had 2 policy hearings in the Utilities and Commerce and in Judiciary Committee. It came out of those committees with bipartisan unanimous support. Now it's this committee's opportunity to consider how we are going to pay for transparency and independent oversight of the Public Utilities Commission. Transparency of governmental activity, particularly of regulatory agencies, remains a central principle of how we govern in California. Over the decades, our legislature has demonstrated time and time again its commitment to transparency and open government with the passage of the Brown Act, the Bagley-Keene Act, and the Public Records Act, for example. AB 825 is the next generation of our commitment to transparency, and I'm encouraged to see its bipartisan support. So we need to find a way to fund our longstanding commitment to transparency, particularly at the Public Utilities Commission. It starts with the Commission itself, which pays for its operations by collecting fees from the public utilities that it regulates. Last week's May revised provided for $1.6 billion in costs for PUC operations, which includes a wide range of activities and programs for utilities and ratepayers. AB 825 requires the PUC to use its fee structure to pay for much of the transparency in this bill, including the costs for the public advisor to help the public navigate the PUC labyrinth and the costs of an outside auditor or inspector general. In Judiciary Committee, we discussed how to fund Superior Court judicial review of PUC decisions in light of the current constraints on the judicial branch's budget resources. As I said there, I remain committed to finding ways to fund this transparency. So I suggested to the Judiciary Committee that the PUC pay for judicial review, just as the Department of Corrections pays for the county superior court to try its prisoners who commit crimes in prison. The PUC would pay these costs out of the regulatory fees it already collects because judicial review can play a significant role in shaping the regulatory program. AB 825 proposes judicial review by the superior courts as an extension to the regulatory process. It is only a court review of the record of the PUC decision, not relitigation of PUC decisions. In essence, I'm calling for challenges to PUC decisions to get their day in court to talk to a judge about why the PUC decision was right or wrong. On the cost of the PUC, its fiscal estimate put the cost at $4.6 million, but by taking out 2 sections of the bill that are consistent with existing law, the PUC cost of the bill drops to just over $2 million. The 2 sections now require budget authority for staff and auditors reporting to the Commission. Remember, funding for all these costs comes from regulatory fees on the public utilities. AB 825 significantly improves the transparency and openness of the Public Utilities Commission. Transparency is one of the costs of good government. As the bill goes into suspense and hopefully comes out, I would ask for your support for greater transparency.
Thank you, Mr. Rendon. Any witnesses in support? Individuals of the public in support? In-betweeners?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, Ignacio Hernandez on behalf of the Utility Reform Network, TURN. We have been involved in numerous stakeholder conversations with the author. I want to thank him and his staff for that. We are trying to get to a support position. We are not there yet. There are a number of items that need to be addressed, and we will continue that discussion going forward.
Thank you so much. Any other tweeners?
Yeah, this is support, actually. Eddie Moreno on behalf of Sierra Club California in support.
Thank you so much.
Chair and members, Dan Pone for the Judicial Council. The Judicial Council does not yet have a formal position on the bill, although we anticipate doing so very shortly. We have identified some significant concerns. Our concerns are limited to the judicial review provisions in the bill. all of the other provisions are outside the council's purview. We very much appreciate the author's repeated commitment to trying to address the cost concerns for the courts. The most recent amendments attempt to address that, but they don't specify the source for those funds. I would just note that if the PUC is ultimately the entity to be the source of the funds for the court costs, that raises a significant ethical concern for the courts, because the courts would have one of the parties before it essentially paying for the full costs of the court's hearing in the matter. And we would want to work with the author and his staff on that. In terms of our cost estimates, as noted in the analysis, the costs for the courts hearing these cases, the San Francisco and LA Superior Court, range from around $900,000 to about $2.1 million. However, I want to stress those are very conservative numbers. The way the bill is currently constructed, it has provisions for some sort of evidentiary process. We're not sure exactly what that means, but if any evidence whatsoever will be able to be taken rather than a simple record review and review of the underlying decision like happens in current cases, those costs could increase significantly. And it's another cost area that we're concerned about. The bill currently is silent on whether there will be further appellate review in the Courts of Appeal and Supreme Court. We're anticipating that it would, and those would be additional costs for the courts. We very much look forward to continuing to work with the author, his staff, and the other stakeholders to address these issues and to try to make the bill as workable as possible for the courts. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other witnesses in opposition? Any individuals from the public in opposition? Questions or comments from the committee members? Mr. Bigelow.
Mr. Rendon, thank you very much. I think you're walking down the right pathway with this bill in earnest. I think this is really nothing more than a cost of responsibility, really, when we take a look at the costs. I do raise the one concern that is raised in there, and I think you're working with folks on the confidentiality on certain things that do need to be confidential. And so I encourage you to work and continue to work in that pathway to clean that up, and I hope that this bill makes it forward as we see it going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bigelow. Any other questions or comments from the committee members? We will give this bill due consideration when it's on the suspense file. Mr. Rendon, any closing comments on this bill?
Respectfully ask for your aye vote. Or
Thank you.
at some point.
Your next bill, Mr. Rendon.
AB 884. AB 884 responds to the many initiative proposals that get submitted to the Attorney General for title and summary that would violate constitutional rights.
Move the bill.
Thank you. The Attorney General may get hundreds of requests, but only a few collect enough signatures to get anywhere close to making it to the ballot. Even if they make it to the ballot and Californians spend millions of dollars on a campaign for or against, an unconstitutional initiative will get struck down by the courts. Through all this process, the petitioners, signers, and voters may have very little information about whether the proposal is unconstitutional. AB 884 would give voters that information at the front end when they are considering whether to sign the petition for an unconstitutional measure. It would allow, not require, the Attorney General to determine if a proposed initiative would violate a person's constitutional rights. If so, then the title and summary would include notice to petition signers of that determination. We need to make sure that voters have enough information as to constitutionality when they sign the petition, and that's what this bill does. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you so much. Witnesses in support?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Alice Kessler here on behalf of Equality California, and we support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other witnesses in support? Individuals from the public in support? Witnesses in opposition? Individuals from the public in opposition? Questions or comments from the committee members? I'm going to, Mr. Rendon, I support this bill. I'm going to pass it forward. On the issue that prompted this bill, I think it's kind of very clear cut. However, when we have other propositions that are not going to be clear cut, the arguments are going to fall on whoever is the Attorney General at that time. And although we might always like the Attorney General that we have now, we might not like that individual in the future. I would say continue working on how you put safeguards into this bill to ensure that people's constitutional right in California to submit propositions are not unduly negated. At the same time, the proposition that was being circulated was horrific, and we have to do something about that, and I recognize that's what you're trying to do. Any other questions or comments from the committee members? If not, Mr. Wagner.
I apologize, and I just want to push back a little bit on your comments. I agree with you completely. The initiative that prompted this is just an absolute abomination. That said, it's not a matter of liking or not liking the Attorney General, in my opinion. Things change, people come and go. It's a process question, and I'm not sure, regardless of whether you like or don't like the Attorney General, that the process imposed by this bill is the right one. It seems to me that it's perhaps an overreaction isn't the right word, but it's too big a solution to really what is one just stupid initiative. And so I just kind of want to throw that out for the record and kind of explain that. That's my objection. I think we're solving too much that doesn't need to be solved when we have a real small but certainly eye-catching, absurd problem. So thank you.
Mr. Quirk.
So this would discussing constitutionality. This would talk about both the U.S. Constitution and the California Constitution. However, some measures come forward because they rightfully want to change the Constitution, because the Constitution's about this big and has all sorts of stuff that shouldn't be in the Constitution. So I'm a little bit concerned when it comes to the California Constitution that something that perhaps wanted to do a helpful change in the Constitution would be listed as unconstitutional.
Right. Thank you for your question. The emphasis on this bill is on one's individual rights. For example, if one wanted to change the Constitution to establish, say, a rainy day fund, which we've done recently, that would not. This bill is not intended to impact that. It's intended
okay, and
to
it's written so that it wouldn't impact something like that.
We're continuing to work on it, but that's yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Rendon, thank you so much for bringing this bill forward. Like I said, I support the bill. I would work on it a little bit more as it goes through the process to safeguard individual rights, but at the same time deal with these kind of scenarios that we're facing. So thank you so much. This bill has a motion and a second. This bill is out on a B roll call.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Wood.
Thank you, Chair and members. I'd like to waive presentation on 1231 and 243 and present on AB 325.
Thank you so much. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair and members. I wanted to thank the Chair and your staff for all your help on this bill. The City of Santa Rosa has worked with Burbank Housing, a nonprofit, on a project to increase affordable housing units in Sonoma County. The project, Catalina Townhomes, has relied on funds from the Housing and Community Development's Building and Equity and Growth in Neighborhoods, or the BEGIN program, to help pay for some of the financing of these homes. The project was on track to complete 60 affordable housing units for low-income families in my district. The BEGIN program awarded $3.8 million to make the project a reality. Construction of 32 homes has started, but the project has encountered a major setback. The City of Santa Rosa was informed 2 weeks ago by HCD that the $3.8 million award has to be spent by the end of next month or risk losing the money. The deadline places the entire Catalina Townhomes project in jeopardy. Given the size of this project in my district, losing the $3.8 million is absolutely unacceptable. AB 325 would provide a 2-year extension of HCD's BEGIN program, which will allow the City of Santa Rosa to complete the construction of the 60 affordable homes. AB 325 also seeks to put parameters around another HCD program, the Community Development Block Grant Program. The program gives federal grant money to eligible local governments to be used to develop and preserve affordable housing, create local jobs, and overall gives an economic boost to cities and counties. AB 325 implements a clear timeline for the CDBG program so federal funds get to local jurisdictions as soon as possible. The two problems outlined in AB 325 are real-life issues that affect people in my district. The program allows the CDBG program allows a city, county to create local jobs at local business and new local business establishments. AB 325 is my attempt to address these problems that have been brought forward to my attention by people of the North Coast. I'll continue to work with HCD while the bill is on suspense to address the problems previously outlined. And while conversations with the department have been encouraging, I strongly believe that AB 325 continues to be necessary. Necessary until the legislature can see clear examples of problems being fixed and concerns raised by the legislature taken seriously. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Any witnesses in support? Individuals from the public in support? Witnesses in opposition? Individuals from the public in opposition? Questions or comments from the committee members? Seeing none. Mr. Wood, your bill's on suspense, but would you like to close?
Just ask for your due consideration at the appropriate time, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wood.
Thank you.
Mr. Frazier. Mr. Frazier, you have one bill on consent and one due pass, AB 1029. What's your pleasure?
Waive presentation on consent and present on AB 1029.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Assembly Bill 1029 would establish a certification program for charitable organizations to provide specific services to veterans and their families.
Move. Second.
We have a motion and a second, but please continue.
The state provides resources in the form of grants to nonprofit agencies to provide housing, mental health, substance abuse, case management, and employment services to deserving veterans. However, there are no state standards or certifications exists for California veteran service providers to ensure that resources are allocated efficiently and the veterans receive the highest possible quality of service. Though many charities offer veterans needed help, others spend much of their money, sometimes most of it, on the organization's overhead expenses rather than services promised to our veterans. Charity fraud varies from outright scams to a misrepresentation on how much of the donation actually goes to help our veterans. AB 1029 will recreate accountability for those organizations by establishing standards for certification and certification process for California veteran service providers by CalVet. With me today in support is Chuck Helgett, representing the California Association of Veterans Service Officer Associations. Mr. Chair, I would also like to extend my sincere gratitude to your committee staff for their hard work and dedication to making this the best bill possible. Thank you, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you so much, Mr. Frazier. You know suspense files next week.
Can't fault
Witness in support.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, I'm Chuck Helgett. I represent the California Association of Veteran Service Agencies, CAVSA. CAVSA's members provide housing, employment, and counseling services to homeless and at-risk veterans and their families. While progress has been made at the Federal Veterans Administration in terms of providing prompt and high-quality services to our veterans, ensuring that our state community-based service providers meet a high standard for certification can only improve both efficient use of state resources, but also help ensure that the highest quality of service for our veterans. By ensuring that veteran service providers are fiscally and professionally qualified, we can improve targeting of limited state veterans resources. Additionally, AB 1029 will help address the long-term problem that plagues nonprofit veterans programs throughout the state, with con artists who solicit contributions from well-meaning but unwary Californians. We want to thank Assemblymember Frazier for his support and the committee for your support. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other witnesses in support?
Mr. Chairman, members, Pete Conity representing 15 national veterans groups, and we're in strong support of this bill. This bill is probably overdue, but it's especially important now that Prop 41 passed, and we will be spending over $600 million on housing for homeless veterans. And this is getting ahead of the horse so that we don't come back later and find out the money went to the wrong place. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other witnesses in support? Individuals from the public in support? Witnesses in opposition? Individuals from the public in opposition? Questions or comments from committee members? I'll add, Mr. Frazier, that I like this bill. I think it's definitely a bill that makes sense when it comes to supporting our veterans, but making sure that the money goes to the right place, and the people who are donating know that these are reputable organizations. So when the time is right, add me on as a co-author. I would be honored to be on this bill with you. Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. This bill is out on an A roll call.
Thank you so much, Chair and members.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier.
Thank you. Mr. Gomez, AB 1431, would you like to share with us?
Do I have any bills on suspense that I can present? No?
I am
I'm
pretty
kidding.
sure we're willing to
I'll waive my suspense bills. Mr. Chair and members, Assembly Bill 1431, which will expand the job order contracting program available to the Los Angeles Unified School District to all school districts in California. By using job order contracting, LAUSD has been able to cut costs because a contractor will bid.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Would you like to continue?
No, I would not. I ask for your aye vote.
Do you have witnesses in support?
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members, Cesar Diaz on behalf of the State Building and Construction Trades Council. Job order contracting provides an alternative delivery method for smaller projects, and this bill protects those protections, but also extends the ability to use JOC for those districts that have actually implemented community benefits agreements or project labor agreements. We urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Brooks Ellis on behalf of the Gordian Group in support.
Thank you. What other additional witnesses?
Mr. Chair, members, Lee Angela Reed on behalf of the Small School Districts Association of California in support.
Any other witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Questions from members? Are you sure you don't have questions of the author? Anyone? Now is your chance. Seeing none, this is out on a B roll call.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Mr.
you, Mr.
Chair and members.
B. We don't have any more, do we?
Do you have any more for dinner? Everybody's on the roll. Everybody's on the roll, so. Everybody's on the roll, so your pleasure.
Okay. Anything else?
Everybody's on the roll. Everybody's good.
Mr. Hogan, what's your pledge on your assistance bills? Thank you so much. Any unfinished business? The meeting is hereby adjourned. No objections?
Good meeting, Mr. Chairman.